Hi everyone, welcome to episode 6 of Les Histoires de CLARE. Today we're talking about le temps des petites écoles. During its heyday, CLARE was big on education, with fine schools everywhere. De la Rivière au Sommet all the way to Saint-Bernard. There were schools in Concession, Saunierville, Comeauville, Church Point, Danlance, Saint-Alphonse, but one by one they started to close. L'École de Danlance, l'École de Saint-Bernard, l'École de Comeauville. And after a while, we were left with only a few. L'École Stella Maris, l'École Jean-Marie Gay, École Joseph Dugas. But to get us to these schools, with the long journey, CLARE needed a fleet of school buses. And to captain this fleet of school buses, CLARE had the best school bus drivers. You have Lloyd, Delbey, André, Aldrich, Gilbert, Alain Ecoles, and the legendary Flatnose. They weren't just bus drivers, they were like sea captains, guiding you through the rough roads of CLARE. You had Alphonse with his sing-alongs, the always calm Aldrich, and the always cool Alain Ecoles. They were the best. They were the only ones who could stop a busload of children from turning into another episode of The Lord of the Flies. Sometimes on your way to school, with your boredom, you think it was le temps de faire le jackass, but one glance in the mirror from the school bus driver and ça calma down. Now seating on the bus was always treacherous. The back seat was for the rough and rowdy crowd. The front seats were reserved for those who wanted quiet sanctuary from the spitballs and the wet willies. Sometimes you'd sit in the middle seat, right in the middle of the bus, next to the emergency window. And you knew it came with responsibility. If ever something went down, you'd pull that lever and let everybody out in a daring escape. The rides were long. Listen to the radio, CJLS, AVR, CIFA, and C98. But sometimes we'd get a treat. You'd hear the crackling of the radio as the volume went up, and everybody on the bus went quiet. We knew what was coming. The radio station in St. John, once a week would get a phone call from a legendary French hero. He would tell amazing stories and tales. And he would always end with a song. I'm Jacques Goulac, the lumberjack, My brother and me chopped down the tree, chainsaw we. It was awesome, c'était wild. And then you would reach your school and one by one you would leave the bus and walk into your school. I went to Joseph Dugas where we had legendary teachers like Wayne Buckley, James Boudreau, Patricia Melançon, Melbourne Muse who would show you how to make a canoe out of leaves and l'écorce. We had the always nice Patricia Picani. Some teachers had nicknames, Sneaky Peek, Caveman, puis Rosaline la Maline. Now Rosaline la Maline, she wasn't mean, she was actually a sweetheart, but she was tough, she had to be. She had a class of 30 students, and half of them were wearing jean jackets and bandanas. They were wearing Motley Crue t-shirts, ou Michael Godin avec sa t-shirt de Ride the Lightning on board La Fontaine. Rosaline used to always kick me out, but that's okay, that was tradition. She used to kick my dad out too. Go to music class, learn how to play Three Blind Mice on la flute or the triangle. And you always had one student who was a show-off. He could play the piano, like he was friggin' Frank Mills. We were a generation that grew up on MTV and much music. Our cassettes were Twisted Sister and Madonna. But our music teacher, Denise, would always show us the beauty and nuance of Nana Mouskouri. On your way to the bus stop that morning, your parents had given you your lunchbox, but they also gave you cold, hard cash. Cash to spend at the canteen. That's right, the canteen était awesome. They had everything. They Hostess potato chips, Big League Chew, the Popeye cigarettes, the Fun Dip. But then one day, no more of that. The school board decided it's going to be health food, des bran muffin puis des premium plus. Sometimes we had a class called Education Sexuelle, but we would call it Sex Ed. C'était mad. They would talk about the wildest stuff, the birds and the bees. Now, when I watched Golden Girls, I understood what they were talking about. Every now and then, the principal would come on the haut-parleur, the loudspeaker, and he would say something like, Jeff Doucet, voulez au bureau. The whole class in unison would go, ooh. One of my favorite teachers was Madame Simone Soucy. Elle était the best. She would teach us to read long French words like maintenant and chapeau. In English, those words are easy. It's now and hat. Sometimes Madame Soucy would notice that we were getting tired, so she would slowly close the curtain and shut off the lights. C'était le temps du repos. We would all put our heads on our desks and take a little siesta. C'était awesome. To this day, I still take mid-afternoon naps, and it's all because of Madame Soucy. She was the best. December, we would put on the Christmas concert with high production values and practices. It'd be a packed house. Everybody was there. And they would put you on the stage and dress you up like a chicken. There was always the dreaded parent-teacher meeting that was always coming up. Uh-oh, what was going to happen? But the teachers were cool. They would never knock you out. There was the playground with slides and monkey bars for daring acrobatics. Or maybe you'd get on the swing and just see how high you could get up with someone pushing you. C'était wild. You could even pair up with someone on the teeter-totter, where for many of us, it was the first time we learned about betrayal, where you'd be all the way up and someone on the bottom would just jump off and hit you with the ass cracker. Sometimes there would be fights in the playground, but the teachers would always break that up. And sometimes there were just heated arguments, like who was better, Tiffany or Debbie Gibson? The answer, Samantha Fox. Of course, the major sport in all playgrounds in Clare was dodgeball, ballon chasseur. It's as if every school in Clare was training us to go on American Gladiators. There was nothing like getting blasted in the face from a ball 10 feet away. C'était wild. At the end of the year, you'd get your little report card, and you'd barely just pass. And it was time for summer vacation. And that's why it was so awesome at École de Clare. There was so much to do. C'était wild.